Hello and welcome back to THM, and welcome to a brand new series on the channel, that being Btcc Rule Benders, where I'm going to be looking at cheeky little innovations and little tricks of the trade, if you like, that teams and manufacturers have been using in touring car history in order to get that little competitive edge over everyone else. Let's jump straight into it. Now, to set the scene on this one, we're going all the way back to the mid-90s and the super touring era of British touring cars. Now, back in those days, it was very much win on Sunday, sell on Monday, which means that manufacturers put a hell of a lot of money into British touring car racing to win outright, thinking that the popularity of seeing their cars win on track would sell cars in their dealerships on a Monday, which did often work. Now, if you have a look at these cars, these are all from the 1994 season. None of them have any form of aero on them in terms of front splitters or rear spoilers. That was because at the time the British touring cars were not homologation specials, if you like. They had to have at least 2,500 cars in which they were based on. For example, this one here on screen at the moment, Renault Laguna, you could pretty much buy exactly what that looks like in the showroom at the time. And the reason for doing this was quite simple. A, to keep the costs down a little, and B, to keep it a touring car championship and not like a purpose-built race car, which looks nothing like anything you can buy in a showroom, for example. Don't get me wrong, these are serious bits of kit and they are race cars, purpose-built. However, when you look at them, especially in the 1994 season, they look like something you could go down to your local Volvo, Renault, Vauxhall dealer and go and buy them. Now, joining the Btcc that season was Alfa Romeo, and they wanted to enter their 155, which, by the way, is an absolutely beautiful looking car. And they took the rules of building 2,500 and they went, we can do something with this. So what they done is they effectively made a special edition car called the Alfa Romeo 155 Silverstone edition. And what they done with that, there was 2,500 of them to meet the minimum build rules, and they put this big ass spoiler on the back and a front splitter on. Now, this was really controversial, and we're going to find out why. So, let's say you walk into an Alfa Romeo dealership in 1994, you purchase yourself a 155 Silverstone edition. You open the boot, you get your normal stuff. You get your tools to take the wheels off, you get your jack, you get the spare wheel. But also, in the back, you notice a tool you've never seen before, a hell of a load of rivets, and some massive spacers. Now, what do they do? So you think, no idea what that does. Let's look in the owner's manual and see what it says. So you scroll through 600 pages worth of absolute rubbish in an owner's manual like you do, and there is absolutely no mention of this extra tool and these extra spacers. Anyway, so what they've really done is you could bolt them on underneath the spoiler to raise it a good few inches, and the tool that was in the back was for the front splitter, which you could extend and pull it out. Now, Alfa knew they were going to be in a little bit of trouble for this, and it was best if perhaps the teams didn't find out what they were doing. So in pre-season testing, they turned up, they had the spoilers in the low position and the front splitter pulled right in, like you do in a standard road car, and got testing. Happy days. However, when the first round of the season come about, the cars look completely different. Now, if you have a look at the photograph on screen now, that's the rear spoiler in the low position. Now have a look at it and look at the amount of difference on that rear spoiler. And you may think that's not a lot, but in terms of 1994 in the British touring cars, no one had anything like this. I showed you the photographs of the other cars at the front. There wasn't a single spoiler to be seen on that grid, and all of a sudden you've got this massive aero machine absolutely ripping everyone and everything to shreds. Presumably the 155 absolutely dominated the first few rounds of the season, and then all the teams got their heads together and said, we need to sort this out, that they cannot be fitting these massive aero aids to cars which you can't even buy in a showroom. They come literally in the boot, for God's sake. So they lodged an appeal. Now, Alfa Romeo's response to this was really quite simple. Look, we've listened to the rules. The rules state we have to build at least 2,500 showroom spec cars that we can base our race car on. There's 2,500 155 Silverstones that you can go and buy in a showroom now if you really want, and they will have the extended spoiler, both front and rear, if you need to. Nothing in the rule book says it has to be physically fitted to the car. It could be in the boot, the customers can fit it if they want or leave it if they don't. Sounds like a you problem, not a me problem. Deal with it. FIA sided with all the other manufacturers and demanded that Alfa Romeo, for the rest of the season, run their cars with the restricted aero, so everything in the down position. And also, second to that, every single point that they had scored in the previous meetings meant nothing. It was wiped. 0. Alfa weren't too happy about this, to say the least. It got to Alton Park and they were reminded, if you want to race, you must put them in the lower position, for God's sake, Alfa. So what they done is they packed up their stuff and they buggered off home and didn't bother racing, because you've got to also consider that even though this seems like childish behaviour, if they did race with them in a lower position, they've kind of admitted that they've lost and they've cheated. So they just packed up their stuff and buggered off and appealed the appeal. So the Btcc organisers at the time, expecting and thinking of a full-out civil war, came to an agreement with Alfa. Okay, guys, fine, fair enough. You can run them back in the extended positions. You can have your points back that we've taken away from you previously. But as of July the 1st, you run them in the lower positions, and all the other teams, BMW, Vauxhall, Mazda, all of the other things, Renault, Ford, all sorts, they are allowed to have little wings like yours as well. So it's an even playing field. Okay, no problem. So what did Alfa do? Apart from a couple of hiccups, like at Knock Hill, where Tarquini famously rolled it, they done well the rest of the season. They won the championship, and that's it. So that was the story of the Alfa Romeo 155 and the first in our new series of Btcc rule benders. What did you guys think? Do you applaud their efforts, or are they out and out cheating? Personally, I think ingenuity and technical genius like that is absolutely brilliant for motorsport. But they got caught out, they still won, everyone's a winner. As always, don't forget to like this video and hit the subscribe button, and comment what other videos and what other teams and technical innovations do you want to see in our next episode of the series. I'll see you later. Bye bye.